Hey guys, all right. Part two. Let's try this again. I just cooled down my phone and have the AC vent slightly on. Hope the audio is good, even though I have the vent slightly on. I know that can get loud. But if you're watching live, let me know if you can hear me fine. If not, then I'm just going to hope that the audio quality here is coming out clear. But I wanted to really talk about this to prepare you for this phase. This is a transitional phase, I guess, when you start getting into vitamin D. And so I want to talk about some of the things that you might begin to experience. So one of them is, vitamin D. The way that I think of vitamin D, well, there's I guess a few different ways that I think of it, but vitamin D to me is kind of like the energy that charges up our batteries. This is really where energy comes from to me. Like I think that vitamin D is almost like a measure of energy. It's considered a hormone. It's a pro hormone. Basically, it's what it's called. And so I think that it's important that we have good levels of vitamin D. Now, the other way that I think of vitamin D is that I also think of vitamin D as a measure of gut health. And what I mean by that is that the lower your levels of vitamin D, the weaker your gut health. The higher your levels of vitamin D, then the stronger your immune system. And so this basically was one of those things that, really called out to me when I was researching vitamin D was that, because I had low levels of vitamin D, it just made sense that that was one of the reasons why I was experiencing a lot of my digestive issues and other things like that. And so that's where I started to understand that wow, like my body is not breaking down food properly, and that's why if it doesn't matter if I'm eating protein, because if my body can't break that down into amino acids, then it cannot get the amino acids that it needs to produce hormones. And if it cannot produce one hormone, then my entire hormone system basically goes out of balance. So understanding that for me, vitamin D was not so much just about raising the levels of vitamin D for energy purposes, but it was also to strengthen my immune system, right? That's basically what I was looking to do, to strengthen my immune system. And, uh, and because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, that's why I focused a lot on healthy fats. And this is where I start to see why diets like the paleo diet, which even though it's not a ketogenic diet, why it works for many people, and it's because it starts to add more healthy fats and remove a lot of the bad fats, a lot of which I talked about in the in the workshop video last Thursday. So that's basically where where that information comes from. But so anyways, with vitamin D, what I noticed was that as my levels of vitamin D were going up, my restful sleep cycles were also going up. I was able to sleep better, and so this is one of the reasons why I prefer to be on a plant-based ketogenic diet and basically strengthening my immune system. And it's because it just allows me to get to these stages of sleep that I wouldn't be getting before. And I don't supplement with L-tryptophan too much. That's the amino acid that I was talking about at the video before my phone shut off because it overheated. But that I do have some at home, and so whenever I'm feeling like, hey, you know what, I'm not getting as good sleep as I can, every now and then I may take and supplement with that just to see if if maybe my digestive issues are still kind of like not right where they need to be, or maybe I'm just not eating enough protein, whichever the case may be. But that's one supplement that I notice that if I do take it, I definitely feel the effects. And I can tell by the quality of sleep that I get with that. And so the reason why I bring that up is because I believe that if you go through this week, you should notice a difference in sleep. But if for whatever reason you don't, then I want to have that as an option to, I guess that would be like a little bit of a booster, like a little bit of a kick because I think that you just need to like learn to break that cycle of, if you haven't been getting good sleep, that's one of the reasons why your body's not producing hormones. And until you get your body to get to a deep, restful sleep, then you're not going to be able to basically switch back. And so that's basically the goal for this week, where number one, you're going to be continuing to drink your water, and then you start to take the vitamin D, the 2 capsules at night and two in the morning. And then notice and monitor your quality of sleep. That's basically kind of like what you're going to be tracking. Still continue to track your food. And like I said, like with food, now it's going from awareness of what you're putting into your body, but now you're also starting to take control and plan out ahead what's going into your diet. I believe that that's important, and I've talked about this. That what I'm teaching you guys is not just for health. Like, this works for many areas of your life. It's one of the reasons why I'm engaging with people who are engaging the most. And it's because I want to surround myself with people who are headed the same direction that I am headed, that have similar aspirations, similar goals, that are aligned, I guess, with my mission. Because a lot of the things that I am doing right now, like, I'm going through a personal transformation myself, and I'm going to be taking on, projects that are, basically like some of the biggest projects that I've ever taken on in my life. And I just cannot have people that will, drag me back. And that's why I am being, protective of, my time and, who I'm, surrounding myself with. But I think that, so far, because of, the culture that, we're essentially creating here, and, we're basically all here as students researching health, and, basically supporting and encouraging each other. I think that it's just attracting a high quality of people. And that's why, I mentioned, earlier that, that I'm really happy and really excited to, be meeting, many of you guys that are, engaging. But anyways, so this week, that's basically what you're going to be tracking. And then I'll be doing another workshop. So we'll still be continuing to improve on our diets. And like I said, I expect a lot of changes to feel, because if you're adding the water and minerals, I know some of you are already seeing a big difference in your energy levels just with the water and minerals. But trust me, there is a huge power when you start to stack things that work on top of another. So if you got the water and minerals and you start adding the vitamin D, you're going to start to notice. Remember, the vitamin D is like, I give the analogy of the battery. It's the best one that I think helps me understand it, where vitamin D is like the charge that's inside of the battery. And so it's going to be charging your levels, and you already have the minerals. And so if you watch the videos, how important it is to have a conductive material in your body, well, now you're going to start to feel more of the full effect. And like, this alone, I believe, could be like basically like all you would need. But obviously I'm going to walk you through everything so that you have all of these tools, I guess, at your disposal, so that you understand exactly everything that I have done, and you're going to really understand how everything works together. But anyways, that being said, I'm going to be sending one last another mindset video training tonight. So I did a book review for the one thing, and the other one is for the compound effect. And the reason why I think that is important is because the number one thing, like I said, after this week, we are essentially moving away from water as our main topic of conversation. However, remember the success, okay, the success that you're going to be creating when it comes to like your health journey success is going to depend on your ability to stay consistent doing these habits. And it may take, maybe, I don't know, 21 days, 30 days before you actually see it. But basically, the compound effect, what it talks about is that at first, when you start doing something, the improvements may not seem like they're that much. But if you continue doing that same thing over and over time, instead of linear growth, you begin to see exponential growth, right? And I think that for hormone production, this is basically what you're going to have to experience, is that, your body's basically, not used to having many minerals, and now you're putting it through a phase where, like, all of a sudden, like, it's having minerals and it's starting to do things that, it's getting stuff out of the body. It starts to detox itself. It starts to kind of like function again. Well, it's going to be a little bit shaky at first, but once you get into a good rhythm, you start to feel like you're in flow. You start to actually get more in touch with yourself. um that may take a little bit for a while, but once that happens, though, those are like when the big changes happens, when you look back and you say, wow, like, I can't believe that I didn't do this before, that I never knew anything about it. That's basically where I am at. And that's one of the reasons why, for me, even though I still crave junk food and I'm still around it and I still, get exposed to it, um, I just know what my body feels like when I follow, my diet. And that's why, for me, like, going more, this is part of the reason why I'm kind of, I want to say, isolating myself, but just giving myself space to really figure out and get to know my body by, not letting outside influences basically change what I want to put into, my body physically. And so that's something else that, we'll be talking about later on. But other than that, continue doing everything. So congratulations, everyone. 7 days. This is a, milestone, and I look forward to start talking more about vitamin D starting tomorrow. Look for that email. And by the way, if you're anyone who's watching the replay, um, if you're watching it today, the day that I post this together, today's the last day that I'm going to have people join the email list to follow this live. After today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, anyone who wants to go through the Hormone Bootcamp, I'm going to have a replay version available, because I think that is important for, everyone to basically go through the first week and really understand everything that is, been happening, in the week, rather than just following along, live. So anyone that's, following live, you guys, I'm going to be focusing mostly on you, and basically everyone else is going to just have to go through the replay. But that's all I want to share for today. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later.